Talk of Mulanje Mountain, one of the tourist attraction sites in the country. Surely you cannot forget about Malawi's national tree, the Mulanje Cedar. This tree is on high demand for its unique properties such as anti-termite hardwood timber and its sweet natural scent that can be further processed into a number of essential oils. Such being the case, illegal timber miners have plundered Mulanje Cedar to levels nearing extinction. Sensing the danger, Forestry Research Institute of Malawi, Frim, has embarked on a long-term strategy to ensure that this national tree is not wiped out. Scientific research trials have been conducted to grow the cedar out of its original environment, Mulanje Mountain, and is proving to be working. On this trip to Zomba Mountain, Deputy Director of Forestry responsible for research, Dr. Tembo Chanyenga, said Mulanje Cedar need total protection and holistic measures for its conservation.
The cedar, as you know, is our national tree. We have been overexploiting it from its natural habitat, that's Mulanje Mountain. At the moment, we are trying to restore it outside its natural growing area, and Zomba Mountain proved to be one of the ideal places for the species actually to be grown. And since 1907, we have been planting, and plantings still continue. But the challenge is that within the plateau, it only can grow on a very restricted area. That's the basin area where we are. And at this site, we have competing interests. You know, we have to grow pines, we have to grow Mulanje Cedar. So, as I'm saying, it's about identifying pockets where we feel pines cannot do well. That's the site that we are putting our Mulanje Cedar. And this is one of the examples where we are practicing mixed forests. And, you know, it's like a refugia of the species outside its natural habitat. And it's very, very important that we continue with such plantings, especially along the water courses. Although it takes about 100 years for the species to mature, but we are very, very optimistic that this is about patriotism. It's about our future. The future generation must also experience the good properties that this particular species offers to us all. To conserve any particular species, it requires people to be interested in the first place. You know, they must understand as to why they would like to conserve such species. We know Mulanje Cedar has got very high economic value. Its timber is none. You cannot compare to any other timber within Africa, within other continents, like in Europe. But what we are saying is, if we let this species go, then it has disappeared on the landscapes of the planet. So Malawi, as a country, the whole world is looking upon us, what we are doing with our species. You know, it's interesting also to know that our colleagues in New Zealand, they have got their own tree there. It's called Frim. It takes 500 years for the species to mature, and they are conserving the species. What moves us? You know, look at how long it takes for Mulanje Cedar to get matured. It takes only 100 years. But our colleagues in New Zealand have got a very, very, very robust strategy as far as the conservation of their species is concerned. So what I'm saying here is it's very, very possible for us to win this battle, to move forward with the conservation of the species. You can see the whole world wants to support us as far as the conservation of the species is concerned. So it's upon us as Malawians, the media inclusive, you know, the ecologists inclusive, the foresters inclusive, to take a very positive step towards ensuring that we plant, protect, and utilize this species on sustainable basis. Mulanje Cedar is a very, very economic tree in terms of timber provision. In 1995, one tree could be valued at £1,000. In today's value, we're talking of 1 million. You could see why we did the valuation in pounds. It shows it's the only species that can give us high quality timber. It is resistant to termites, it is resistant to pests, it takes long to decay, it has got a very good smell, you know, scent, we call it scent. You know, there are huge opportunities that we can explore economically from this species. As you might wish to know that there are only 4 species of this genera worldwide, and they are all found in Africa. In Africa, they are only found in Southern Africa. And in Southern Africa, they are only found, 2 are found in South Africa and 1 is found in Malawi. Our colleagues in South Africa have gone a step ahead by producing what we call essential oils. They are producing perfumes from their cedars. Remember that those cedars don't grow into big trees, but our cedar is yet to be explored. You know, the scent that we are talking about is yet to be utilized at a certain point. So we're calling the scientific community, Chancellor College, Zuzu University, all those guys who deal with chemistry to come and help with us in assisting in analyzing the economic benefits of the species in terms of the chemistry, because we know we can make a very unique product from this species. For instance, a soap, a tablet could be named after our species, Mulanje Cedar tablet or Mulanje Cedar soap. We could even produce a perfume, Mulanje Cedar perfume. That would be very unique worldwide, because that's a brand on its own. It stands alone. So the scientific community must come with us, join hands with us, and we explore and have the huge economic benefits potential that the species is offering.
This is one of the sites right on Zomba Mountain where Mulanje Cedar is being planted. Professor James Seani said there's need for protecting the national pride.
Mulanje Cedar is the only plant as Mulanje Cedar which occurs in Malawi, and the only Mulanje Mountain in particular. And for a long time it has been growing in the wild on the mountain. But I think through research, through Forestry Research Institute of Malawi, we know now that we can plant Mulanje Cedar in other areas, especially on higher altitudes, like here. So our attempt today is an introduction of Mulanje Cedar away from the natural habitat which is on the Mulanje Mountain. And I think this process will continue here in Zomba, but also in other areas. I think in the past there has been a myth that Mulanje Cedar is a spirit plant, therefore it can only grow on Mulanje Mountain. Fair enough, that was a belief then. But I think we need to use the research that we have done, that this indigenous plant, indigenous pine, I think this is maybe the only indigenous pine that we have. I think we have another species or so on the Nyika Plateau. But this one is the only pine group which is growing naturally in Malawi as hardwood, because pine is very light, while Mulanje Cedar is hard and strong, termite resistance. That's why it takes almost 100 years plus to have a sizable. So this effort today is very important. And we as National Herbarium and Botanic Gardens of Malawi, we are very proud to be associated with Mulanje Cedar.
Professor Seani further said Malawians should realize the importance of safeguarding forests, saying mankind cannot do without forests as they provide life's basic necessities such as natural healing herbs, firewood and water, just to mention a few. In his remarks, plantation manager for Zomba Timber Plantation, Leonard Kamangadanzi, said his company has set up measures to ensure that cedar trees survive in Zomba.
The Mulanje Cedar, we normally do what we call a complete cultivation, whereby we use clean hoeing so that we don't have fires within this area. So we're going to make sure that the trees, the Mulanje Cedar that we have planted here, actually managed very well to make sure that we don't have fires. And we have some patrolmen who move around the forest. Those are going to be moving around the forest to make sure that they're not actually stolen.
Forest Research Institute of Malawi, with support from Mulanje Mountain Conservation Trust, Government of Malawi, and Muhammad bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund, is working towards the restoration of Mulanje Cedar by growing it outside its original environment.
It's not a spirit tree. because it has been grown. We have seen it growing at Zomba, and also even at the nursery we have been raising it time without numbers, in large numbers. And our workers here also, they are very much qualified on raising that tree seedling. If we give them even the seed to say raise this, they are very much qualified. It's not a spirit tree. It just needs some scientific knowledge for it to germinate. And one important thing is it does not need any pre-treatment method for it to germinate. We just take it and you germinate, even without soaking in water. Just germinating it germinates readily. And the stock that we are having now, it is also germinating. It is now at 95% germination rate. That's the stock that we are having. It is really germinating. It's not a spirit tree.
For Business Digest, this is McDonald Chiwaula reporting.